Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Antaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Jai Premanandi. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Gauranga. Glories to Sri Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 O my Lord Sri Krishna, son of Vasudeva, all pervading personality of Godhead, offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, translation and commentary by Srila Prabhupada, Canto 4, Chapter 30, today's text 42. Namak Samaya Shuddhaya
Namashamaya Shuddhaya.
Purushaya Parayata
Purushaya Parayata.
Vasudevaya Sattvaya
Vasudevaya Sattvaya.
Tubhyang Bhagavate Namaha.
Tubhyam Bhagavate Namaha.
Namasamaya Shuddhaya
Namasamaya Shuddhaya.
Purushaya Parayata
Purushaya Parayata.
Vasudevaya Sattvaya
Vasudevaya Sattvaya.
Tubhyang Bhagavate Namaha.
Tubhyam Bhagavate Namaha.
Namasamaya Shuddhaya
Namasamaya Shuddhaya.
Purushaya Parayata
Purushaya Parayata.
Vasudevaya Sattvaya
Vasudevaya Sattvaya.
Tubhyang Bhagavate Namaha.
Tubhyam Bhagavate Namaha. Namasamaya Shuddhaya. Namasamaya Shuddhaya. Purushaya Parayata. Purushaya Parayata. Vasudevaya Sattvaya. Vasudevaya Sattvaya. Tubhyam Bhagavate Namaha. Tubhyam Bhagavate Namaha.
Namasamaya Shuddhaya.
Namasamaya Shuddhaya.
Purushaya Parayata.
Purushaya Parayata.
Devaya Sattvaya.
Vasudevaya Sattvaya.
Tubhyam Bhagavate Namaha.
Tubhyam Bhagavate Namaha.
Namasamaya Shuddhaya.
Namasamaya Shuddhaya.
Purushaya Parayata.
Purushaya Parayata.
Vasudevaya Sattvaya.
Vasudevaya Sattvaya.
Bhagavate Namaha.
Tubhyam Bhagavate Namaha.
Namasamaya Shuddhaya.
Namasamaya Shuddhaya.
Purushaya
Purushaya
Parayata.
Parayata.
Vasudevaya
Vasudevaya
Sattvaya.
Sattvaya.
Namaha.
Tubhyam Bhagavate Namaha.
Anyone else? Word for word. Namaha.
Namaha.
We offer our respectful obeisances.
We offer our respectful obeisances.
Samaya,
Samaya.
who is equal to everyone.
Who is equal to everyone.
Shuddhaya,
Shuddhaya.
who is never contaminated by sinful activities.
Who was never contaminated by sinful activities.
Purushaya,
Purushaya.
unto the Supreme Person,
unto the Supreme Person,
Paraya,
Paraya,
transcendental,
transcendental,
Cha,
Cha,
also,
also,
Vasudevaya,
Vasudevaya,
living everywhere,
living everywhere,
Satvaya,
Satvaya,
who is in the transcendental position,
who is in the transcendental position,
Tubhyam,
Tubhyam,
unto you,
unto you,
Bhagavate,
Bhagavate,
the Supreme Personality of Godhead,
the Supreme Personality of Godhead,
Namaha,
Namaha,
obeisances.
obeisance.
Translation. Dear Lord, you have no enemies or friends. Therefore, you are equal to everyone. You cannot be contaminated by sinful activities, and your transcendental form is always beyond the material creation. You are the Supreme Personality of Godhead because you remain everywhere within all existence. You are consequently known as Vasudev. We offer you our respectful obeisances. Please repeat, Dear Lord,
Dear Lord,
you have no friends, you have no enemies or friends.
you have no enemies or friends.
Therefore, you are equal to everyone.
Therefore, you are equal to everyone.
You cannot be contaminated by sinful activities,
You cannot be contaminated by sinful activities.
and your transcendental form is always beyond
Your transcendental form is always beyond
the material creation.
material creation.
You are the Supreme Personality of Godhead
You are the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
because you remain everywhere within all existence.
Because you remain everywhere within all existence.
You are consequently known as Vasudev.
You are consequently known as Vasudeva.
We offer you our respectful obeisances.
We offer you our respectful obeisances.
To Prabhupada's purport. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is known as Vasudev because he lives everywhere. The word Vas means to live. As stated in Brahma Samhita, Eko Pyasav Rachayatung Jagadandakotim. The Lord, through his plenary portion, enters into each and every universe to create the material manifestation. He also enters into each and every heart in all living entities, and into each and every atom also. Paramanu Jayantarastam. Because the Supreme Lord lives everywhere, he is known as Vasudev. Although he lives everywhere within the material world, he is not contaminated by the modes of nature. The Lord is therefore described in Ishopanishad as Apapavidham. He is never contaminated by the modes of material nature. When the Lord descends on this planet, he acts in many ways. He kills demons and performs acts not sanctioned by the Vedic principles. That is, acts considered sinful. Even though he acts in such a way, he is never contaminated by his action. He is therefore described herein as Shuddha, meaning, quote, always free from contamination. The Lord is also Sama, equal to everyone. In this regard, he states in Bhagavad Gita 9:29, Samohang Sarvabhuteshu, Name Dvesho Stina Priyaha. The Lord has no one as his friend or enemy, and he is equal to everyone. The word Satvaya indicates that the form of the Lord is not material. It is Satchidananda Vigraha. Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha. His body is different from our material bodies. One should not think that the Supreme Personality of Godhead has a material body like ours. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Om Jnana Timarandasya Jnana Anjana Shalakaya Chakshur Militam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkest ignorance, and my spiritual master is kindly opening my eyes with the torch of knowledge. Now for my respectful obeisances unto him. So we find this is the last prayer of the Prachetas. We finally come to the end of their prayers. We've had many, many prayers requesting boons in the prayers. And ultimately, they only want to please the Lord. That's their ultimate desire. That's the real boon they seek, that they, whatever they think and say or do, that they'll always please the Lord. So most of the words in the shloka are just praises of Krishna, like Samaya, Namah Samaya, Shuddhaya. He's equal to everyone. And then Prabhupada adds to that in the translation, no enemies or friends. Now, when you hear that, like when I heard it, I thought, wait a minute, Krishna seems to have many enemies and friends. So why Samaya? I mean, as soon as Krishna was born, there were demons trying to attack him. Those are enemies. And he has so many coward boyfriends. So what does it mean that Krishna has no enemy or friend?
He doesn't think he doesn't think he doesn't feel enemies or friendship.
Yeah, everybody's part and parcel of Krishna. It's like parents they might have many children, but they're all equally dear to them because they're their children. Sometimes they act as, atrociously, and sometimes they act nicely. Anything else? Yes.
Krishna sees them equally, but he's in Yurai Vacuum Lokam, he defends the devas and demigods and the Brahmins. Although he sees them equally, the result is the same, but in terms of Dharma, he always acts for the behalf.
Yes, he acts appropriately. Even though he's equal to everyone, he acts that's in a way that's beneficial for everyone. Just like, again, the parent analogy. So he's equal to, he loves all his children, but sometimes he scolds somebody and sometimes he gives the other one a hug, depending on what they need to develop in their lives. Okay, Samaya, and then the next word, Shuddhaya, and so it means never contaminated by sin. But, again, there's the but, but Krishna sometimes appears to do sinful things. Can you name some? Leela? Yes?
Oh, like kill a bull.
Oh, there you go. You hit the jackpot. We're going to hear a lot about that. He killed a bull, and that's no bull. He did that. Anything?
He's stealing butter.
Yeah, boy. Chore. Thief. Hakan chore.
He has a girlfriend.
He dances with others' wives in the middle of the night. Wait a minute. That's an aggressive, and one who kidnaps the wife, that's punishable by, you can kill that person. Any other, okay. So we're gonna, I didn't even know, I don't think I ever read this, but, when you go to, about the killing of the bull, when you go to the killing of Arista, he's the bull demon, he's sent by Kamsa to kill Krishna. But if you go to the pastime in the Bhagavatam, and also the way Prabhupada summarizes the Bhagavatam and Krishna book, wait a minute, no, that was after Prabhupada's time. Yeah. Anyway, if you go to the Bhagavatam, which I did, it's in 1036. Yeah, in Krishna book, Prabhupada summarizes, of course. You won't find what happened afterwards.
Descent of Radhika.
Yeah, so we're going to look at this, and it's really the BBT editors who did this, in the 10th canto after Prabhupada's passed. They did something that was really neat because they consulted all the acharyas that Prabhupada did. They had the same book. So we're going to look at this pastime, and then we're going to look at what happened after Krishna killed the demon, the bull demon, because then he is chastised by Radha and the gopis. So this is 1036, the slaying of Arishta, the bull demon. And it's text, we're going to start with, let's see, text. Yeah, we're going to start with, it's just 1 through, I think it's 16. Shukadeva Goswami said, the demon Arishta then came to the cowherd village, appearing in the form of a bull. That's really insidious, right? Because, cows and bulls are protected, but he's coming in. Also, Vatsasur, it was a calf demon too. Yeah. Appearing in the form of a bull with a large hump, he made the earth tremble as he tore it apart with his hooves. Aristasura bellowed very harshly and pawed the ground. With his tail raised and his eyes glaring, he began to tear up the embankments with the tips of his horns. Every now and then, passing a little stool and urine. You don't want to get a bull angry. I mean, even at Gitanagari, we had some bulls, and of course they're protected, so they're not. They were nice, but they're so powerful, they're so big, and they can really wreak havoc. Sometimes they break out of the fences at Gitanagari and they run all over the place, and it would take all the men to come and corner them and get them back in the pen. And the way ultimately you got him back in the pen is you put some cow in heat in the pen, and he'd smell that, and he would run in the pen, and we'd get the cow out of there. Yeah, we had to use all our brains. Okay, so here's Arista. Every now and then passing a little stool and urine. My dear king, this is Shukadeva to Parikshit. Clouds hovered about sharp-horned Arishta's hump. Clouds, well, mistaking it for a mountain. And when the cowherd men and ladies caught sight of the demon, they were struck with terror. Indeed, the strident reverberation of his roar so frightened the pregnant cows and women that they lost their fetuses in miscarriages. Whoa, he caused miscarriages just by his roar. The domestic animals fled the pasture in fear, O king, and all the inhabitants rushed to Lord Govinda for shelter, crying, Krishna, Krishna. And it said, Krishna, Krishneti. When the Supreme Lord saw the cowherd community distraught and fleeing in fear, he calmed them, saying, don't be afraid. And he's the boy, right? He's the boy. But he said, don't be afraid. Then he called out to the bull demon as follows. So now he's going to taunt the bull, this big, huge demon in the shape of a bull. He's going to taunt him. You fool! What do you think you're doing? You wicked rascal, frightening the cowherd community and their animals when I am here just to punish corrupt miscreants like you. Because Krishna knows he's not a real bull, he's a demon, assuming the shape of a bull. And so because he's a demon, he understood what Krishna would say. He wasn't like a dumb animal. Having spoken these words, the infallible Lord Hari slapped his arms with his palms. Yeah. Angering Arishta with the loud sound. The Lord then casually threw his mighty serpentine arm over the shoulder of a friend. And stood facing the demons like, all right, make my day. What are you going to do now? He just, like in Krishna Balaram Mandir, Balaram leaning on Krishna, and they're just casual. Thus provoked, Arishta pawed the ground with one of his hooves, and then, with the clouds hovering around his upraised tail, furiously charged Krishna. Okay. Pointing the tips of his horns straight ahead, right? He's aiming for Krishna. And glaring menacingly at Lord Krishna from the corners of his bloodshot eyes. Arishta rushed toward him at full speed, like a thunderbolt hurled by Indra. Whoa. The Supreme Lord Krishna seized Arishtasur by the horns and threw him back 18 steps. He just took him by the horns and threw him back. But that ain't nothing. Listen to what he does now. Just as an elephant might do when fighting a rival elephant. Oh, I didn't know that. Elephants might throw the guy back. Oh, that makes sense, huh? Thus, repulsed by the Supreme Lord, the bull demon got up and, breathing hard and sweating all over his body, again charged him in a mindless rage. As Arishta attacked, now Krishna's not messing around now. This is it. This is the last. As Arishta attacked, Lord Krishna seized him by the horns again and knocked him to the ground with his foot. The Lord then thrashed him as if he were a wet cloth. And finally, he yanked out one of the demon's horns. Ooh, that must have hurt. And struck him with it until he lay prostrate. Vomiting blood and profusely excreting stool and urine, kicking his legs and rolling his eyes about, Arishtasur thus went painfully to the abode of death. The demigods honored Lord Krishna by scattering flowers upon him. So the demigods think, oh, this is cool. He killed this demon. Having thus killed the bull demon, he who was a festival for the gopis' eyes entered the cowherd village with Balaram. All in a morning's work, right? Just polishing off this huge demon. And now here's the text 16, which has a multi-page purport, which describes what happened. This is where you get the story that you hear, that Prabhupada sometimes would tell too. You get it from, well, I'm gonna read, and it's really far out. Okay, text 16. After Arishtasura had been killed by Krishna, who acts wonderfully, Narada Muni went to speak to King Kamsa. That powerful sage of godly vision addressed the king as follows. So that's just the verse. But in the purport, the BBT editors, okay, I'm just going to start with paragraph 2 because paragraph 1 has to deal with Narada going to Kamsa. Yeah. Now, here's what this is where they cite, it's all coming from Vishwanath Chakravarti in this purport. From the Puranas, and Vishwanath's getting it from the Puranas. From the Puranas, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has quoted 20 verses describing a joking conversation between Radha and Krishna that took place after Krishna had killed the demon Arishta. So it's all like joking and teasing, but they're actually, it's like they're role playing. They're all, yeah. This conversation, so kindly quoted by the Acharya, describes the origin of Radhakund and Shyamakund, Radha's and Krishna's bathing ponds. The verses are as follows. So they give the Sanskrit for each one, but I'm just going to read the English because it reads like a script to a play now that they're engaging in Leela. Quote, the innocent young gopis said, "Ah, Krishna, don't touch us now. O killer of a bull. Alas, even though Arishta was a terrible demon, still he was a male cow, so you will have to undergo atonement. Just as Lord Indra did after killing Vritrasur. But how can you purify yourself without going to the trouble of visiting every single holy place in the 3 worlds? We're giving him a heavy penance, right? And now Krishna, not to be outdone, Krishna replied, why should I have to wander throughout the entire universe? I will at once bring all the countless pilgrimage places here and take my bath in them. Just watch. So Vasudeva, we learned Krishna's Vasudeva, he lives everywhere, so he can do that. He's everywhere. He lives in every atom, and he has full access to all corners of the creation. Just watch. With this, Lord Mukunda struck his heel on the ground. Then he said, this is the water of the Bhagavati river, holy river. coming from the Patala region. And now, O holy places, all of you, please come here. When the Supreme Lord had spoken these words, all the holy places went there and appeared before him. Krishna then addressed the gopis as follows. See all the holy places. Why should I don't have to go anywhere? Here they are. They all came to me. But the gopis replied, we don't see them as you describe. Quote, then those, so this is the Acharya. Then those best of holy places, joining their palms in supplication, spoke up, because they're all personified. Everybody's personified. I am the salt ocean. So the gopis said, we don't see them. But then they said, oh, I am the salt ocean. I am the ocean of milk. I am the Amara Dirgika. I am the river Shona. I am the Sindhu. I am the Tamraparni. I am the holy place Pushkar. I am the river Saraswati. This would be a great play, wouldn't it? And we are the Godavari, Jamuna, and Reva rivers, and the confluence of rivers at Prayag. Just see our waters. Quote, after purifying himself by bathing, so then Lord Krishna, he just bathed in those holy rivers, Lord Hari became quite arrogant and said, I have produced a pond containing all the various holy places, whereas you gopis must never have executed any religious duties on this earth for the pleasure of Lord Brahma. Then Srimati Radharani addressed her girlfriends as follows. So Radha, not to be outdone, she turns to her girlfriends, the gopis, and says, I must create an even more beautiful pond. So go to work. Let's go. Having heard these words, the gopis saw that Arishta's hooves had dug a shallow ditch just west of Sri Krishna's pond. So when you go to Radhakund, you see next on the other side there's Shyamakund, or sometimes called Krishna Kund. At that nearby spot, all the gopis began digging up lumps of soft mud with their hands. So they're digging with their hands, lumps of soft mud. And in this way, a divine pond manifested in the short span of an hour. Wow. They were taking care of business in an hour. A divine pond. Krishna was astonished to see the lake they produced. He said, go ahead, lotus-eyed one. You and your companion should fill this pond with water from mine. No, they're not going to buy that. But Radha replied, no, 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 no. This is impossible, since the water of your pond is contaminated by your terrible sin of killing a cow. We don't want that filthy water in our pond. I will have my and then so Radha says, I will have my countless gopi companions bring the pure water of the Manasi Ganga here in billions of pots. In this way, I will fill this lake with my own water, and thus make its renown unequaled in the entire world. So when you go to Radhakund, you see this Manasi Ganga temple. Lord Krishna then gestured to a heavenly personality who was in an intimate association of all the holy places. Suddenly, that person rose up out of Krishna's pond and bowed down to the daughter of Sri Rishabhanu, Radharani. Then, with palms joined and tears pouring from his eyes, he began praying to her in devotion. So this is where the tide turns again toward Radha's favor. Oh, quote, oh goddess, even Lord Brahma himself, the knower of all scriptures, cannot understand your glories, nor can Lord Shiva or Lakshmi. Only Krishna, the supreme goal of all human endeavor, can understand them. So now he's embracing both of them. So this is can understand them, and thus he feels obliged to personally make sure you can wash away your perspiration when you are fatigued. He is always anointing your lotus feet with nectarian charu and yavak and decorating them with ankle bells. And he rejoices and feels most fortunate simply by satisfying the tips of the toes of your lotus feet. On his order, we have immediately come here to live in this most excellent pond, which he created by one stroke of his heel. So he's referring to Shamakund. But only if you now feel satisfied with us and bestow upon us your merciful glance will the tree of our desire bear fruit. So this is where there's a beautiful reconciliation now to the mock quarrel. Hearing this prayer spoken by the representative of the full assembly of holy places, Sri Radha was pleased and said, "So, kindly tell me your desire." They then told her plainly, "Our lives would be successful if we could come to your pond. That is the benediction we desire." Remember, they were at Krishna's pond, but they really want, so now she's going to acquiesce. Glancing at her beloved from the corners of her eyes, so now she's looking at Krishna, she's was supposedly angry, and now she's looking at him lovingly. The daughter of Vrishabhanu replied with a smile, "Please, come." Her gopi companions all agreed with her decision and became immersed in the ocean of happiness. Indeed, the beauty of all creatures, both mobile and stationary, was enhanced. Thus, gaining the grace of Srimati Radharani, the holy rivers and lakes in Sri Krishna Kund forcibly broke through its boundary walls and swiftly filled Radha Kund with their waters. So when you go to Radha Kund, it's like that. There's a little connection there, isn't there? Sundamani? Yeah, there's a little part where there's a, going back and forth through that one channel. Now that was so. Lord Hari then said, "My dear Radha," because he's gotten the cue from her sidelong glance. "My dear Lord Radha, may this pond of yours become even more world-renowned than mine. I will always come here to bathe and to enjoy my water pastimes. Indeed, this lake is as dear to me as you are." And now Radha, she's going to reciprocate. It's so sweet. It's like they're kissing and making up. Radha replied, "I will come to bathe in your pond as well, even though you may kill hundreds of Arishta demons here. Doesn't matter. I was only kidding." In the future, anyone who has intense devotion for this lake, which is on the spot where you chastised Arishtasur, and who bathes or resides here, is sure to become very dear to me. So that night, Lord Krishna initiated a rasa dance at Radhakund, generating a torrent of the greatest mood of splendorous pleasure. Sri Krishna resembled a cloud, and Srimati Radharani a brilliant flash of lightning, filling the sky with abundant beauty. In this way, their divine glories permeated the expanses of the three worlds. Let's see. All right. And now the BBT editors go back to the first paragraph with it. Okay, well, I'll just read it. It says, as a final note, it should be mentioned that Narada Muni, being a great sage, understood that the killing of Arishta more or less concluded the pastimes of Krishna in Vrindavan, because it was time for them to go to Mathura to kill Kamsa and other demons. Therefore, Narada, anxious to facilitate the transferal of Krishna's pastimes to Mathura, approached Kamsa and addressed him as follows. So that continues. So I had never read that, and I was thinking, well, wait a minute. I thought I had read this in Krishna book or in the Bhagavad, but no, it's not. Yeah, I had never, but I had heard it. So where did I hear it? So it's Vishwanath's quoting all these Puranas and different things.
From Little Krishna, the cartoon.
Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, you mean the Japanese anime?
Yeah, animation.
Yeah.
Indian.
Right. Okay, where am I? Let's see. Okay. So another, let's see how we're doing. Okay. So another word the Prachecha said was Vasudevaya. Vasudeva, living everywhere. And then Srila Prabhupada, he cites the Brahma Samhita, famous verse. And I thought it's right here. I thought I just, of course, some of you know the verse, but there is purports to these verses too, so it's not really long. I think I'd like you to, we're going to hear Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, its purport. Anybody know the verse? I know Sandamani knows, but Eko pyasau rachayatum jagadanda koting yachchaktirasti jagadanda chayayadantaha andantarasta paramanu chayantarastam Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. So Lord Brahma prays, he is an undifferentiated entity, as there is no distinction between potency and the possessor thereof. In his work of creation of millions of worlds, his potency remains inseparable. All the universes exist in him, and he is present in his fullness in every one of the atoms that are scattered throughout the universe. That's inconceivable, right? At one and the same time, such is the primeval Lord whom I adore. And then Srila Bhaktisiddhanta's purport. Krishna is the highest of all entities. In him is an entity which is termed chit, spiritual, which is distinct from the principle of limitation. So we're always trying to stuff the unlimited into our limited consciousness, but you can't do that. It doesn't fit. By his inconceivable power, he can at will create numberless universes. All the mundane universes owe their origin to the transformation of his external potency. Again, his abode is beyond human conception, since all worlds, limited and spiritual, chit, exist in him, and he resides simultaneously in his fullness and entirety in all the atoms and all the worlds. All pervasiveness is only a localized aspect of the majesty of Krishna, the Lord of all. Though he is all pervasive, yet in his existence everywhere, in a medium shape, or when Krishna comes, he comes in a shape that devotees can relate to. Medium shape consists his spiritual lordship beyond human conception. This argument favors the doctrine, and philosophically, this is what. This argument favors the doctrine of simultaneous, inconceivable distinction, difference, and non-distinction, non-difference. Everything is inconceivably and simultaneously one with, and yet different from the Creator, and knocks down the contaminating Mayavad and other allied doctrines, which also try to stuff the infinite and the finite. Doesn't work, or they try to merge into the infinite. That's not possible. Okay, so now can anyone think of a past in that regard about how Krishna's everywhere, everything's in Krishna, and he's in everything, which is inconceivable. Can anyone think of a pastime showing how Krishna is within and without everything? A pastime. The dirt, boy, you did it again. You hit the jackpot twice.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah, that's the only one that I could even think of, really. Since Okay, now I'm going to share the Krishna book, Vision of the Universal Form. It's in the chapter called Vision of the Universal Form. And it really comes alive when you go to the spot, Brahmanda Kund, where Krishna showed the whole Brahmanda, the whole universe, to Mother Yashoda. Okay, so yeah, Krishna has, right, everybody's saying Krishna's eating dirt, and then Krishna said, no, they're all lying. They got mad at me, and so they're coming to you. They're trying to get me in trouble. So they're just saying this. And so if you think I've eaten dirt, then I'll show you I haven't eaten dirt. I'm going to show you. If I've eaten dirt, you could probably see the dirt in my mouth, right? Wait a minute. Here we go. Oh, where is it? Okay. I'll just read this. Another day, when Krishna and Balaram were playing with their friends, all the boys joined Balaram and complained to Mother Yashoda that Krishna had eaten clay. On hearing this, Mother Yashoda caught hold of Krishna's hand and said, because it is like near the Jamuna, it's more like clay, it's more soft. Yeah. So, on hearing this, Mother Yashoda caught hold of Krishna's hand and said, "My dear Krishna, why have you eaten earth in a solitary place? Just see, all your friends, including Balaram, are complaining about you." Being afraid of his mother, Krishna replied, because it's the rasa, he's in parental, Yashoda's in parental and rasa, and he's playing the part of the boy, and he likes that. Sometimes you hear Prabhupada say in a tape, everybody's worshiping as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Nobody's coming to chastise me. You know? I want to be chastised. Not by demons, but by devotees. Being afraid of his mother, Krishna replied, "My dear mother, all these boys, including my elder brother Balaram, are speaking lies against me. I have never eaten any clay. My elder brother Balaram, while playing with me today, became angry, and therefore he has joined with the other boys to complain against me. They have all combined together to complain. So you will be angry and chastise me. If you think they are truthful, then you can look within my mouth to see whether I have eaten clay or not." His mother replied, "All right, if you have actually not eaten any clay." She's not going to take anybody's word for it this time. Are they lying or is he lying? You know, okay, I'm going to do my own little fact finding here. Open your mouth. Then just open your mouth. I shall see. When the Supreme Personality of Godhead was so ordered by his mother, he immediately opened his mouth, just like an ordinary boy. Then Mother Yashoda saw within that mouth, you've seen the painting, right? Jadharani, in her book, The Art of Spiritual Life, says, she asked Prabhupada how to paint this. And so Prabhupada told her how to do it. You know, you see Yashoda and Krishna, but then you also see in a part of the painting when you see the whole expanse of the universe. Then Mother Yashoda saw within that mouth the complete opulence of creation. She saw the entire outer space in all directions, mountains, islands, oceans, seas, planets, air, fire, moon, and stars. Along with the moon and the stars, she also saw all the elements, water, sky, and the extensive ethereal existence, space. Along with the total ego and its products, namely the senses, the controllers of the senses. All the demigods and the objects of the senses, like sound and smell, because everything's personified, right? She saw the whole 9 yards and then some. Within his mouth, she also saw the three qualities of material nature, all living entities, eternal time, material nature, spiritual nature, activity, consciousness, and different forms of the whole creation. So this blew Mother Yashoda's mind, right? Yashoda could find within the mouth of her child everything necessary for cosmic manifestation. And then this really blew her mind. What did she see? Yep. Wait a minute. Too much. She also saw within his mouth herself. Wait a minute, I'm outside here, looking in. What's going on? I'm inside too. Herself taking Krishna on her lap and having him suck her breast. Upon seeing all this, she became struck with awe and began to wonder whether she were dreaming or actually seeing something extraordinary. She concluded that she was either dreaming or seeing the play of the illusory energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. She was getting very philosophical, and this was disturbing the rasa. Krishna didn't like this. She thought that she had become mad, mentally deranged to see all those wonderful things. Then she thought, it may be cosmic mystic power attained by my child, and therefore I am perplexed by such visions within his mouth. Let me offer my respectful obeisances to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is beyond the expression of consciousness, mind, work, and philosophical speculation, and whose different energies produce everything manifested and unmanifested. Under his energy, bodily self and bodily possessions are conceived. She then said, let me offer my respectful obeisances unto him, under whose illusory energy I am thinking that Nanda Maharaj is my husband, and Krishna is my son, that all the properties of Nanda Maharaj belong to me, and that all the cowherd men and women are my subjects. All this misconception is due to the illusory energy of the Supreme Lord. So let me pray to him that he may protect me always. Okay. So Krishna didn't like, so what did Krishna do? Wait a minute. We're getting there. Mother Yashoda was thinking in this high philosophical way. Lord Krishna again expanded his internal energy, so he covered her back with parental rasa, just to bewilder her with maternal affection. So we're always bewildered. We're either bewildered externally or internally. But internally is good because it pleases Krishna. Immediately, Mother Yashoda forgot all philosophical speculation and accepted Krishna as her own child. She took him on her lap and became overwhelmed with maternal affection. She thus began to think of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who was understood through the process of cultivating knowledge derived from the Upanishads and the Vedanta Sutra, practicing mystic yoga and studying Sankhya philosophy as her own begotten child. Now this is really, it really comes alive when you go to the Brahmanda Kund, when the pastime is being told, and you see this clay there, and you see all the Brijbasis, and they're decorating the trees with their, what is it, the garlands and stuff, and it all becomes alive. And when you hear Prabhupada describe this pastime on the recordings, then Prabhupada says, so, Yashoda saw all this, within the mouth, and then Krishna didn't like it, that she was getting philosophical, so Prabhupada said, so Yashoda said, okay, just close your mouth. Don't do it anymore. Don't do it. Whatever. It was never really determined whether he had eaten dirt or not. He left it open. So before I take the lead to Priya's question, I'm just going to say, okay. All right. Yeah, so just going back to the point that I made at the beginning, that today's verse is the last verse of the Pracheta's praying. So, yes, in today's verse contained Pracheta's last prayer. Tomorrow, they're not going to speak. So who's going to speak? The Lord's going to respond. And it's very interesting how the Lord responds. So durable to that. Okay, Lalita Priya.
So we were talking about this pastime last night in Bhagavad Gita class.
Oh.
And so I just had this question that, like, do you think Krishna did this on purpose to sort of like get out of being in trouble? Like, oh no, mom's gonna look in my mouth. Let me just bewilder her, and then then I can.
You mean he really ate dirt?
Yeah, maybe he.
Yeah.
But
Well,
I mean,
that's left open.
it's-
I don't think. I think
But even if he didn't eat dirt, right? He could just like, oh yes, I'm gonna bewilder her, and then
Yeah,
you know,
have
just
a-
like if I was a little kid that had tremendous power like that, I might be tempted to use it to wiggle out of some trouble. So anyway,
Yeah. I know, I'm not going to speculate on that because I can't contain the infinite in my finite brain. Yes.
Did you, Prabhu? Fast as usual. I was just gonna say, I think I've said this before, when this pastime is brought up, it makes me think about how when I first learned about Krishna consciousness and the philosophy, like, I was thinking it's almost like finding out, you know, you're a part of the sun, like you're sunshine, and then it's like becomes like a blaze where you're just like kind of torching everything. Because like going to my parents and being like, you know, like something like, you know, you're not really my parents, you know, and there's a truth to that. And if somebody's ready for that certain amount of philosophy, then you could say it in a certain way. But what I'm trying to say is that I found out very quickly that it seemed like Krishna did not like that.
Yeah, like what?
Me saying that to my parents and like
Oh, yeah.
acting like, oh, like I'm not actually your child, because you get it from your parents, and part of that is conditioning, but part of that I felt like is from Krishna, because it's kind of this game you realize where it's like, you know that you're something other than this body, but you also play the game, and you are a part of whatever you're a part of fully. And it's kind of those two things simultaneously in the art of having Krishna consciousness and functioning in this world and having the appropriate love for everyone.
Yeah.
And it reminds me of this story.
Yeah, everything has to be done appropriately. Like when Dayananda asked Prabhupada about this, in the 60s, you know, 68 or 69. And, you know, when the first generation of devotees joined in Prabhupada's time, you know, very often it was, you never went home. So that was Maya, to go back to your parents and like that. But Prabhupada, that didn't come from Prabhupada. That just came from our, you know, neophyte consciousness. So Dayananda asked, and Nandarani asked Prabhupada, how should we relate to our parents? Because they were, you know, they knew their parents and they knew they weren't going to like what they were doing because of their background. And so Prabhupada said, you should just go home and you should, and whatever they say, you should say yes, 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 but don't follow what they do. You know, don't follow what they ask you to do. Just be, because they're your parents, and you can't just assume a superior position. I did that. My father became favorable to Krishna consciousness when I stopped preaching to him. It took 10, and why didn't he speak to me for 10 years? It's because I was always trying to preach to him, right? And so finally, you know, I stopped, and then I did something normal. I got married. So we thought, oh, he's not in a cult. He's normal. He got married, right? And then he actually came out to see me at Gita Nagari. Yeah. So yeah, and no matter how old you, and this happens. I remember the last time I saw my father. The last time I saw my father was in 2004. And he was still relating to me as his Little League All-Star. And that's when we were closest. When I was a Little League All-Star, he used to come to my games and, you know, and say, that's my son. He just made that catch and he just hit that double. And so they're still thinking, you're always thinking of your kids, no matter how old they are as your kids. Right, Chandrika? Right? Yeah, so you can't assume a superior, you just have to be kind.
Yeah, it's a subtle art relating in anything with life, but also Krishna consciousness for sure.
Yeah.
And you just made me think, I was going to say at breakfast, but my dad has been very under the weather. Well, I guess I should have said that I've been wanting to watch the Maha Avatar Nrsimha movie for, since it came to Netflix with my parents, and that my mom did not seem interested at all. And then my dad's been very under the weather, and then just 2 nights ago, he was upstairs and resting, and then we were like, what are we going to do? I recommended, chanting an easygoing round, reading a little of Bhakti Sundar Maharaj's book that she had read a little bit of. And then she said, I want to watch some TV. I said, okay. And then she said, what about that Krishna movie that you've been wanting to watch? And I had totally given up on the idea of watching it with her. And then she recommended it. And then I was like, when are we going to turn it off? When is it going to be too much, especially right now? But it was like just right.
It's riveting, right?
In the intensity of our personal situation.
Oh.
And she just, started to like it. And then my dad came down halfway through, and same thing. I kind of just explained briefly what's going on halfway through. He listened and was kind of interested. And then when we were about to start, he said, oh, we're going to watch this. And we were like, my mom was like, yeah, I actually got into it. And so then he watched the second half, and it just reminded me of what you're talking about, where I was like, really wanted to make it happen. And then I just let go of it. And then it happened.
Had they heard of the pastime before?
No, not really. And it was cool because I was like, when you come on Sundays, the last song we sing that, you probably don't have any idea what's going on. That's this story.
Yeah.
So Jai Nrsimha.
Yeah, it takes maturity to know how to share Krishna consciousness according to time, place, and person. Anybody else? Okay. Jai, Srila Prabhupada, ki jai. Oh yeah, it's late.